Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Now I've got something really cool to show you today. It's taken me a while to find this, but I knew I was going to find something up here, mainly because in this area of Mount Sharp, up on the mountain, there are multiple structures, and sometimes we get a closer glimpse of them when the camera on the rover zooms in to the mountain, and then we see things like this. And this is the Gigapan I've done. I've got the raw one in the middle, negative at the bottom, and the colorized one at the top. I'm going to zoom in and show you it. Here I've got some clips of it. The dome, the perfect semicircular structure up on the mountain. Now these images are a little bit hard to get your head round. They're taken on the Curiosity rover on the ChemCam. Now the ChemCam isn't really designed to take landscape shots, but it does have a very powerful, the rover has an extremely powerful telephoto lens, and it can zoom the camera right in for miles and miles into the background. And apparently you can see an object the size of a fly at a distance of 3 football pitches, okay? That's what the people at NASA say on their website. So it's pretty powerful. And what we've got here is basically Mount Sharp, which I've shown 100 times or more already. And I've shown this area before. This is above Cadiz Valley and is like a valley part of the mountain where we have this sort of domed area here in the middle. I'll show you the raw one first. And then to the left, we have this crazy kind of mound. It looks like very crystalline rock here. It's very reflective, and you can see it's very, very bright. And it's a bit difficult to focus on it. But right on top of that crystalline mound, or crystal mound, I'll call it for now, we have this thing. An absolutely perfect semicircular object or structure. Here it is, just there. Now it's not that easy to see. I'll go back a bit and I'll use the magnifier for you to point it out. There it is. There's the semicircle at the top, and it has these holes at the bottom and a couple of holes halfway up. Whether those are windows or what, I don't know. Maybe they are. This may be an entrance down here or here, and these may be windows. Now, there's not a lot of detail to be seen here. This is literally about 4 miles away from the rover. It's over 5 kilometres. It's probably nearer 6 kilometres, something like that. It's a long, long way from the rover, and it has zoomed in, but not right in, okay? So let me show you the negative of that dome. There it is. I'll show you the magnifier again. You can see it there. You can see that curve. Absolutely perfectly semicircular, I would say. It's about as good as it gets on Mars, really. It's just a shame that the lighting wasn't better and we haven't got more detail, because unfortunately the raw image is very dark and not that clear. But you can see it well enough to determine that it is definitely artificial, just there. Here's the colorized version at the top. I'll zoom in with the magnifier again. There it is. Okay. Now this is basically had the contrast turned up and a sort of brownish filter added, okay, just to make it look more natural. This is fairly close to the actual color. In reality, it's more yellow than this, probably. More yellowy. But you can see how bright and crystally this big mound looks here. And I'll go into more about that in a minute. But you can see some structures just above the dome here. The dome object or structure. Just here above it, we've got 2 more structures here, sticking up, rectangular. Now, it's a funny angle. Now, in reality, I imagine this would be, I've already tilted the image to the left slightly. In reality, it's probably straighter than this. Okay, often when we get these long shots up into the distant parts of the mountain, things go off kilter a bit because the angle's not quite right on the camera, where it's kind of tilted slightly, or the rover's possibly on a little slope or something. Okay, so we often get images that are sort of tilted, and I'll show you. This is the raw image of that here. This is the ChemCam photo on its own. And you can see that the dome thing on at the top there is kind of leaning right over this way. But in reality, this photo isn't straight, okay? I know that because I've seen this area before, and it leans more to the left, okay? So there it is, really. Now, what can I say about that apart from look at the negative here, right? We've got a negative and an enhanced clip here. You can see in both the enhanced clip, the raw clip here, well, this is actually the raw image here, right? And the negative, we have a perfect semicircular structure perched on top of this crystalline mound, or crystal mound, which is highly reflective, and it's just sitting there on top. Okay, look at the negative, look at that. And it's got some details in here, and here, but it's got an absolutely perfect semicircular shape to it. Absolutely mental. I will put clips of this in a minute at the end of the video. As with all my videos, I always put the image clips full screen at the end in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Okay. Now, the cool thing about this area here is I've had my eye on this for many years, and I did a video a while back called Mars Bunker House Found. Now, it's not the first one I've shown. I've shown a bunch of these, some of them up on Mount Sharp and some down on the ground in the actual crater, and some on other parts of Mars, okay, that have also been found by other researchers, not just me, right? And this one is not very far from where we are today. In fact, this one here, if I play through this a little bit for you, you can see this is also a cam image, and I think this is just taken about less than a quarter of a mile away from the spot we're looking at today. And we have a semicircular structure with much more detail in it because it's closer detail. The camera zoomed in further, and you can actually see parts of the structure here, and these square parts on top, and these parts to it with an entrance and windows and stuff. It's like a kind of bunker. If I go to the end of the video, we should have some still images of it. Just there. Okay. There it is. Now, if I use the magnifier, I'll show you what I mean. This is a similar structure, but this is cut into the actual rock face or cliff side of the mountain. This is actually cut right into the rock here. You can see the rock here. There's like a wall here as well. And we have this structure cut into it. This one's different. This one is sitting right on top. It's insane. It's not cut in like that one I just showed you, the bunker house. It's sitting right on top as if it's kind of landed there almost. Absolutely crazy. And we got structures around it, which aren't very clear, but we can see those up there, above it. Let's go to the black and white one, and they're actually clearer in black and white here. You can see them just there, okay? Rectangular. And then we have that right there. I just wish we had the camera zoom in a bit further. Now, interestingly, take note of this mound here. We've got this very bright part here, and then a darker part here, and then it kind of comes up like this, and we've got the valley sort of area behind, where that goes right up towards the top of the mountain. And nearby, now I've got this one, I did this Gigapan a while ago, and this is part of the actual Forbidden City. Now, the area we're looking at today is this bit over here, right? That's the Crystal Mound there, or part of it. And this bit here corresponds to this here and here. I think it's that there, right? So when you look at this one, you can see that ridge there, that dark bit, and then it comes down. On this one, this is the same bit here. So we're further over to the left of this image. This is 3894, Forbidden City, Insane Structures. And the one we're looking at today is 3953. And it's kind of the rover's moved, and it's also zoomed into the area to the left of that little ridge there and this mound here. So we're gradually moving around the mountain, looking at different parts as it drives round and zooms the camera right in to the mountain slopes. Now this one is equally insane, and what we can see here are the insane structures which are part of the Forbidden City, right? Which I've shown also probably 100 times. And unfortunately it's not very clear. So I've done the same again. I've got a raw one, I've got an enhanced one, and I've got an enhanced colour one at the bottom. And there's some crazy stuff going on here, right? Absolutely insane. If we look at the colorized one, now this is right near where we are today, right here. This is part of that crystal mound type thing, I'm calling it. And we've got absolutely insane things right next to it here, like huge kind of broken down structures, right? There's the mound. It's got these bits sticking up here, and we got this thing here and this thing here. Absolutely insane. Now a lot of this is probably natural, but it looks like it's all been kind of carved into, like a kind of stone city carved into the rock. We have multiple terraces on here. I go closer. They're not very clear, but if you take a clip of this, you might be able to see it better in the black and white one. If you take a clip of this and then add loads of contrast, this starts to stand out a lot more. I'll show you some clips of this in a minute. But this is the same area, and then we have all this stuff over here. Now, bear in mind that some of these structures, this thing here is about 100 plus feet, about 150 feet tall, from there to there. These are absolutely huge objects or structures we're looking at here. And this one that's very strange. We got kind of angular parts, may well be a structure, intelligent structure. We got this insane thing sticking up here that looks a bit like a tower, but it's probably natural. I don't know. I don't know. And then over here, this is where the pyramids are, over to the right. This is the kind of wall-like structure that comes right down towards the rover. And it's natural, but it looks like it's vitrified or melted, right? And this is a real close-up of it. And the weird thing is, there seems to be a head carved in the end of it here, just here. If I show you with the magnifier, I'll go back a little bit. Just here. There's a head or face carved into it. Now, I've got close-up to that, I'll show you in a minute. And the weird thing is, now often with these butte-like structures and long, what seem to be natural structures on the mountain, at the end of these structures, there are often giant heads carved into them, which I've shown many of before. I'll show you some clips of some of those at the end of the video. But there are multiple examples of these, and some of them are absolutely huge. They're hundreds of feet tall, some of them. Probably kings or leaders and queens and things like that from the distant past. Right, and this may be another one. It's not very clear, it's a long way off. There's not a lot of detail, but there seems to be one there. It looks kind of reptilian looking or something. 2 eyes, a nose and a mouth, and there you can see teeth detail in there, right? I haven't added that. You can see it in the raw image. There's the raw one. So it's definitely there, right? There it is. It's there. I'll show you some more on that in a minute. Now, interestingly enough, there's another one on this one, 3953, which is the main one we're looking at today with the dome here. So we've got the dome at the top here, just here. And then if you look straight down here, there seems to be a Sphinx-like head on the end of this seemingly natural outcrop here, right? It's not immediately obvious, but you can see it just here. There's the nose, there's the mouth, There's an eye there, and the head comes around like this. And it's got like a headdress, a bit like the Sphinx, and looks pretty cool when you see the enhanced version I've got, right? So I'm going to show you some of the clips I've got now. Right, so there's the raw image, and there's the dome here. Now bear in mind that this needs to be tilted, so that would be more straight than it is, okay? But either way, it's pretty clear in the raw image, right? Here's the raw image with the enhanced clips added. It's my meme. So we've got a negative at the top there, and we got the enhanced colorized one here. Not that clear when you get too close to it. It looks better further back because it's out of focus, right? It's a long, long way from the rover. And even though it's zoomed in, it's not actually in sharp focus at all. But you can see those structures above it, right? Rectangular. There's some crazy stuff here. Right, here's the double meme where we've got a wider view at the bottom and that view I just showed you at the top. You can see the mound here. You can see the crystal mound over here to the left, and it's just sitting right on top of it, parked on there, just like that. Now, this may be cut into this crystal mound, I don't know. But it kind of looks like it's sat on top. It's crazy, absolutely insane. Right, now here's another clip. This is the actual raw image that's in from the cam. Here's the details. I found it on the 20th, which was yesterday, and there's the details, cam 3953, and there it is, okay? You can see it, especially in the negative, it really shows up just there. So anyone can take this image and download it. You can get it on the Gigapan page by going in the top right corner, click on the NASA link, you'll get all the raw images there, okay? So you can download these things yourself and take a look and take your own clips, play with the contrast and brightness, flick it to negative, add a colour filter, whatever you want to do. It's not rocket science, okay? It took rocket science to get the rover there, but it doesn't take rocket science to look at the images, right? There it is again, the wider context view. Some interesting stuff going on here. Don't know what that is, just there. Weird, these weird sort of holes and stuff. So there's some pretty crazy stuff going on here. We can't really make out what a lot of it is. It's only the larger things like this that you can really focus on. There's just a raw clip. Here's that Sphinx-like head I just kind of showed you. Now, this is a bit close. This is closer now, I've highlighted it. You see an eye there, one there, a nose there, teeth and a chin there, and a sort of headdress, almost pharaoh-like headdress coming round at the top here. Carved into the mountain. There's a further back view of it, and there's the non-colorized view. It's actually better if you go back a bit like this and look at it that way, because when you get too close, you can't really focus on it. Just there. Right, there we are. There's the eyes, there's the nose, there's the chin at the bottom. I could be wrong, it might just be an optical trick. But when we have artificial structures on mountain, like we do, it's highly likely that some of the giant heads that we see in the rocks may actually be real and actually carved into them. Much like the Egyptians used to do and a lot of the ancient cultures did on Earth many thousands of years ago. And some still do it now, okay? Now this is that end part where we have the face seemingly carved into the end of it here, right? So I'm going to show you the clips I've got. Close up. There it is. Highlighted. I've colorized it so it stands out better and added brightness. Okay? And then closer. There it is. You've got teeth in there. Nose, mouth with teeth. Like some of them I've shown before, some of them have a very, very kind of shallow chin, small chin, kind of reptoid looking, a lot of them, right? There's the nose, and the eyes are insane, and I didn't add those eyes, okay? They're just there. You can see them, right? Here's some of the stuff in the background. Now, when you get too close to this stuff, it's hard to focus on it. But this thing here is about 200 feet tall. 150 to 200 feet tall, this thing's sticking up. Absolutely mental. Here's that crystal mound with the structures next to it. This is insane, right? Now, the dome thing we're looking at today is just over here, out of shot. But you can see these terraces on here and layers of steps and stuff. And then we have this crazy kind of thing here. I mean, I'm almost speechless with some of this stuff. It's so insane. Here's a darker one. You could really see these details sticking out now. There's the rule one. Okay, now there is the area with that kind of square thing sticking up, just here. That, I think, is artificial, that part there. Right? But it's all cut into the actual bedrock, carved right out of the mountain, and there were people living here. I've shown this from aerial views, I've shown it from on the ground. You can see the structures from above and below. It's definitely a ruined city. But it's cut into the rock, so a lot of it looks natural. Here's a close-up on that kind of square thing there. Cut. Here's a close-up on that square part there. That is almost definitely artificial. This one here. You can see the angles in there. Okay? So we got a lot of stuff going on here. And the crystal mound is absolutely mental. Here it is again. Here's the actual gigapan of it. The crystal mound. This is raw. And even in the raw one, you can see these things here. But when you add contrast, it really starts to stand out. Right? Absolutely mental. And then today we have the Sphinx head. Possible Sphinx head. I'm not 100% sure of that. It looks like one. And then we have the dome up here. So there we are. Clips coming up in a second. Thanks for watching, everybody. Check out the links for the actual NASA images in the NASA link in the top right corner here. The question is, how big is this dome? I think it's something around 200 feet, 150 to 200 feet. I'll go with about 200 feet wide for now, and about 100 foot tall, maybe 120. It's a lot wider than this tall. So width-wise, around 200, height around 150, 130. I don't know exactly, that's just a kind of guesstimate really, based on the other things I've found in the area and the distance and everything involved, okay? But it's going to be big, right? This is no little kind of house. This is a major structure and is similar to some of the others I've shown before in past videos. Okay, so thanks for watching. Clips coming up now.